Big breaking news coming in. The DCP Northwest Delhi says that family members of the absconding shooter, Sonu, have pelted stones at the cops while they were at the spot to try and investigate as to who really stone pelted at the procession and from where the stone pelting came from. Right after the police arrived to try and investigate the matter, here the family members of the shooter, we hear, have pelted stones at the police, and the wife of the shooter has now been arrested. She's been arrested for attacking the cops with stones. In fact, Sonu, in the visual that you see here, Sonu has fired at the procession, the crowds that were moving forward, the religious procession that was coming in, which eventually turned violent. And after violent clashes, we see that this boy has taken a gun in his hand and has fired at the crowds, while the Delhi police is now to investigate the matter at the locality to try and probe and even find this man. In fact, he's been absconding ever since this video has come out. DCP Northwest Delhi says that those family members of the man accused have been trying to attack the police when they arrived to investigate that matter within that area. Ashutosh Mishra is right there at the spot, bringing us all the details from that hot zone. Ashutosh, whose family members, in fact, we understand that the police is trying to nab that man that we see in the visuals, the man in blue wielding a gun. He's shot at the procession that was moving forward in that area. In fact, while he's now being, a manhunt has now been launched against him, family members, we hear of this man, have been trying to vehemently protect him, saying that he has been falsely framed, he's not guilty, and to counter the police, they've even attempted at stone pelting at this point.
And now there's an official statement, Nabila, from the Delhi police. In fact, yes, you rightly said, the video was doing around on social media, and then police somehow, in the forensic investigation, identified the person, and now the official statement, as sent by the Delhi police, says a video was being circulated on social media showing a man in blue kurta opening fire during a riot in Jahangirpuri area on 16th April. The police team of Northwest District had gone to his house to CD Park Road in his search for examination of his family members. The family members pelted 2 stones on them in retaliation. So the police says there was 2 stones that were pelted from the accused side, from the family members, on the police in the retaliation. Now the police is taking legal action. One person, of course, has been detained, as the police says, and now the situation is totally under control. There you see the men lined up in uniform. Of course, they are here to maintain law and order. There you see the tear cannons, everything they were carrying out. And the other side, where there is a camp being made, there the CRPF and the RAF has been deployed. And that's a huge number, particularly in the light what has happened just 5 minutes ago, stone pelting that led to after the retaliation from the family members of the accused when they resisted the arrest and the examination, the investigation by the crime branch. So clearly now the situation has been contained totally. It's calm over here, and the investigation process will continue. But for now, of course, the biggest challenge for the Delhi police that now, since they have to hunt for the accused door to door, and this will gonna really make the investigation process difficult if the resistance comes from the people like what had happened just a few minutes ago. Nabila.
Right, Ashutosh, we see that many women police officers, special force has been deployed there only to handle many of the women. The visuals that we see there of women from that locality who believe that their boys, in fact, particularly those belonging to the Muslim community, are being targeted by the police, and they've come out to protest against the police investigation, saying that our boys are innocent, you cannot enter our locality, you cannot investigate this matter further in this area. They've been detained as well. Give us some clarity on what happened to these women who were seen fighting with the police against the investigation.
One amongst the stone pelter, as the police said, there were 2 stone pelters from the accused family side. So one person has been detained, and this happened, Nabila. In most of the places it happens when police carries out examination, they go and arrest accused. So regardless of caste or community, the people definitely come out in defense of their family member, their loved one. Of course, everyone has the common say that their family member is totally innocent, and this is what exactly happening here. The police has named them an FIR, and the base is the viral videos. Those surface, of course, they were submitted from various handles, and they were also viral on social medias, and of course also in the CCTV footages. So on the base of CCTV footages, those investigation, police identified certain youth. Of course, more than 25 arrests have been made since this morning. I personally saw at least 6 to 7 youth where the people from this locality were picked up by the police, and when they went to hunt down the another man who was identified in a blue kurta in the video, the family members not only resisted, there was was, confrontation between the family members and the police statement, as it says, that they pelted 2 stones, and then of course one detention has already taken place. But now this should not happen, to prevent any further such untoward incident. Now this entire area, again you see, that is being cordoned off. There is the camp being set up by the police. Of course the RAF and the CRP continue to be deployed, and at this point this is the epicenter in fact of 3 assembly constituencies, and this part where there you see another men in uniform are being briefed, and not just besides only the police jawan, some senior officials from the Delhi police, top rank officials from the adjoining districts, as ordered by the police leadership, has been placed here. They're not only monitoring the situation but also executing the investigation process, and moreover also the major responsibility is to maintain the law and order situation and to prevent any untoward incident further. So for now the situation remains calm, but yes, what had happened, that could be another lesson, that how the police gonna carry out investigation, what had happened in the case of particularly on the Hanuman Jayanti, what had happened on Saturday. Nabila.
While we see, and of course, while it's upsetting that these women are trying to resist probe further, the allegations need to be looked into. The women are alleging that all those people who've been arrested for this riots all belong to the Muslim community, and that their community has been particularly targeted. In fact, these are allegations coming in from the opposition parties as well, that only one particular community has been completely, targeted, penalized. While the clashes happened, there were people of both communities involved. What has the police said so far in explanation to that?
Well, you heard the Delhi Police Commissioner in the press conference, Rakesh Asthana, say that the accusations of partition in the probe, in the investigation, is totally false, and he says there are few people who are trying on social media to instigate it further, and there could be action. But as far as the clarity and the specific answer on these accusations, clearly there is nothing at the moment. So far on the action on the one side, that's clearly visible, that those who pelted stone, those who were in a clash with the procession members, so clearly that is visible. But is there any action on the other side, who were carrying the procession with the arsenals, with the sword, with the knives, with the pistol that were seen in those viral videos, those who chanted provocative slogans, or also were part of the provocation? Is there any substantial action on those people? Well, that is not visible on the ground, and clearly there is also silence on the police if you compare to the action that is being taken on the in this case that we are seeing since morning, since yesterday. So clearly these questions are being asked to the Delhi police, and hopefully they will respond to that soon.
Right, Ashu, we hear that the Delhi Police Commissioner has clarified to that, saying that there are 5 Hindus who've been arrested as well in this case. Here we're looking, right, we're looking at allegations of how many of these people during the procession held swords, how many of these men that we see managed to access guns, access stones right in the nick of time when the procession headed towards this area. It seems like on both sides they were so ready to attack with arms and ammunition, and that's why the question arises whether this was entirely pre-planned on both ends. Was it pre-planned? Is the police investigating as to how aware that on both sides that this situation would arise, that they actually came prepared with arms?
Well, the investigation, and also when this will go to court, it will of course be clarified, particularly during the trial, whether it was a conspiracy, a preempted conspiracy, or it was a pre-plan, or it was a spontaneous reaction between few people from the two community, and that led to the massive clash, and that has invited from 2 to 4, 4 to 16, and then 16 to 400. So clearly that is part of the probe, but for now the police believe that it could be a conspiracy, a pre-planned conspiracy, where they gathered stone on the rooftop. And remember, this is again remains only in the accusation. As far as FIR is concerned, the FIR is also an accusation, an allegation by the police that is level, because until it goes to the court and trial, the police need to also submit the evidences. Whatever charges police level in a charge sheet or the FIR, that remains an allegation until proven in the court. So clearly, to back all these charges and the accusation that police is leveling, whether do they have evidence to prove that, whether it was a preemptive conspiracy or it was spontaneous scuffle. Remember one thing very importantly, since yesterday we have been speaking to the members from the Muslim community particularly, none of them denied that there was no stone pelting or there was no retaliation. Everyone rather accepted that since there was provocation, it all started from the other side, those who were in the procession, particularly for the third round. Remember, there were 3 rounds of the procession which passed from in front of the Jama Masjid. They said 2 rounds went very peacefully. There was no harm, there was nothing provocationally, but only what had happened at 6 p.m. when the Muslim community in a huge number gathered for their fasting, for their Roza Iftar, and that was the third time when procession passed. That was the provocative slogans were raised, and then as they accused that there's some people tried to enter in the mosque, and that led to the scuffle, which then turned out into a community clash, a clash between 2 communities. So clearly the charges that police is leveling, that procession was peaceful, it was all pelted stone from the rooftop from the Muslim community side. All these charges need to be justified and need to be backed with the evidences by the Delhi police in the case when they submit the charge sheet, when they submit these evidences. And of course, since all the accused who are arrested, once they are sent to the judicial custody, they will also apply for the bail and they will put their contention, and then we'll have to see how Delhi police gonna back all the charges that they have leveled against each accused. So clearly the judicial scrutiny that is still left, but for now the investigation is being carried out by the crime branch of Delhi police.
Right, Ashutosh, thank you very much for joining us and tracking those details right from that hot spot, Jahangirpuri, where the violence broke out. Almost like another round of a Delhi riot situation that we saw that unfolded late on Saturday evening. In fact, India Today's Arvind Oja, in the meanwhile, spoke to shooter Sonu's mother just a short while ago. Here's what she said while she claims innocence.
हमारे साथ एक आरोपी सलीम चिकना की मां मौजूद है, हम उनसे बात करते हैं। सलीम चिकना को पुलिस ने अरेस्ट क्यों किया?
बिना कसूर में अरेस्ट कर दिया, कुछ नहीं करा। हमारा बच्चा पूरा गोली वाला बोलेगा ऐसा अरेस्ट कर दिया उसको।
तो क्या ये जो आप तस्वीर में दिखाइए जरा दीपक, ये जो तस्वीर है ये कौन है? ये
हमारा लड़का है।
क्या नाम है इसका?
उसका सोनू है।
पूरा नाम क्या है?
पूरा नाम सोनू है।
सोनू, बाकी उपनाम
और कुछ नहीं नाम ना।
तो आप लोग कहाँ के रहने वाले हैं?
हम लोग कोलकाता का रहने वाला, मोइसादाल हल्दिया हमारा घर है।
तो ये पुलिस ने कुछ बताया कि सलीम को क्यों अरेस्ट किया?
कुछ वाला नहीं, घुसने ही नहीं दे रहा।
अच्छा,
घुसने ही नहीं दे रहा, भगा रही तो सुबह गया, वहाँ से भी हम लोग को भगाया, हमारा बहू हम गया।
ये आपका बेटा क्या करता है?
कौन सा?
ये बेटा क्या करता है?
ये बेटा तो चिकन दुकान है।
अच्छा,
हाँ।
तो ये कैसे वहाँ भीड़ में पहुँच गए?
ये भीड़ में पहुँच गया, बोले हिंदू मुस्लिम में लड़ाई हो रहा, तो वो रोजा खुलने का टाइम वो गया, कोई बच्चा से वो ये छीन के वो गुस्सा में वो चलाने लग गया। तो किसी को चोट नहीं लगा, कुछ नहीं लगा, ऐसा धमकी दे रहा। जब बजरंग बली सब आया मानने को, तो हमारा लड़का उसको होते डर देने के लिए ऐसा ही बंदूक चलाया, तो वो उसमें नहीं था। काल के ऐसा ही वीडियो बना के कोई दुश्मनी करके वीडियो बना के छोड़ दिया।
अभी ये कहाँ पे है सोनू?
अभी कहाँ के डर में कहाँ भाग गया पता नहीं। पुलिस वाला आके तो हमारा ऊपर से नहीं दे, छानबीन कर रहा खाली।
आपका घर कौन सा? ये वाला घर है?
ये वाला।
ये दिखाने की कोशिश करेंगे कि सलीम, जो इनकी मां है, इनका कहना है कि सलीम बिल्कुल भी किसी तरह से किसी दंगे में शामिल
नहीं था। उसका वैसा शौक में उठाया। हाँ,
क्या भाई की वजह से तो नहीं उठाया?
नहीं,
भाई गोली चला रहा था?
नहीं भाई के वजह से नहीं। पहले उसका नाम दिया, पहले उसका नाम दिया, बोला सलीम था, सोनू था, चलो जो गलती करा उसके नहीं तो उठाएगा वो। तो कौन
गोली चलाया? तो क्या सोनू से आपकी बातचीत हुई?
नहीं, हमारा बातचीत नहीं हुआ।
घर नहीं आया
ना, घर भी नहीं आया।
एक बड़ा सा पत्थर, you can see this is a particular stone, this is a particular brick which was.
All right, let me quickly cut across to Ashutosh Mishra, who's been tracking those developments. Ashutosh, we hear the family members of the accused. While on one hand we see compelling visuals that shows the man wielding a gun, trying to shoot at the procession that's coming towards him. On the other, you have the parents claiming innocence, saying that they're. She says, in fact, that one boy may have had the gun, the other brother was innocent. He was inside the house when the police dragged him out. These are allegations made by quite a few of them in the locality, saying their men were inside homes and they were dragged out by the police without no reason. What is the fact on ground? All right, I'm going to quickly cut across to Anjana Kashyap. In fact, fresh violence erupted today a little earlier on the same lines where you had women from the Muslim community who came out condemning the police investigation, saying that this is being completely targeted and directed only to one side, against one side, the Muslim community, saying that their boys, their sons, their husbands are innocent and they're being falsely implicated by the police. They, in fact, tried to resist investigation, did not allow police to come inside the localities to look for those culprits who were indulging in stone pelting. Anjana Kashyap, who was right there at the spot, took us through some of those visuals, those sites where women argued, faced off with the police in large numbers, and eventually the police were forced to bring in special women forces to try and detain those women who were trying to create a ruckus and eventually carry forward with the investigation.
यहाँ पर ये वाली कॉलोनी है जहाँ पर बताया जा रहा है क्राइम ब्रांच एक महिला को ले गई थी पूछताछ के लिए। उसके बाद ऊपर वाले घरों से देखिए, ये ऊपर वाले जो घर है यहाँ से पथराव की शुरुआत हो गई थी। ये देखिए नीचे, अगर दिखाइए अशोक, नीचे दिखाइए, ये देखिए यहाँ पर ये सारी पत्थरबाजी, यहाँ पर कुछ ही देर पहले पत्थरबाजी की गई है और ये बाद से यहाँ से तुरंत लोगों को हटना पड़ा क्योंकि यहीं पर अभी भी आप देख रहे हैं मशक्कत कर रही है पुलिस। कुछ देर पहले की भी तस्वीरें हमने भेजी हैं जब लगभग 50 से 100 महिलाएं एक साथ यहां पर आ गई थी गेट पर, और यहीं पर अभी भी पुलिस मशक्कत कर रही है, उनको पीछे रोक रही है, समझा रही है, क्योंकि कुछ ही देर पहले यहां पर एक बार फिर से परिस्थिति थोड़ी बेकाबू हुई थी और फिर से पत्थरबाजी की शुरुआत कर दी गई थी। छतों पे खास तौर पर वो जो पीला और नीला वाला घर है वहां से 3-4 पत्थर आए थे और ये वाले घर के ऊपर से भी पत्थर, और लोग इस तरह से बालकनी के पीछे छिपकर, रेलिंग के पीछे छिपकर पत्थर फेंकते हैं कि उनको कैप्चर कर पाना मुश्किल हुआ। लेकिन आप कल्पना कीजिए, भारी तादाद में यहाँ पुलिस बल की तैनाती है, मीडिया का भारी जमावड़ा है। इस तरफ की तस्वीर दिखाइए, इस तरफ ये दिखाइए, ये रिजर्व्ड आर्म फोर्स किस तरह से यहाँ पर पहुंच चुके हैं और ये तमाम लोग इस वक्त यहाँ पर पहुंचकर सुरक्षा के इंतजाम, क्योंकि पत्थरबाजी हो गई है उसके बाद से अपना हेडगियर पहनकर ये लोग यहाँ पर पहुंचे हैं। मिनटों के अंदर जब यहाँ पर पुलिस उन्हें समझा रही थी कि जांच के लिए हम पूछताछ के लिए ले गए हैं, तभी ये पत्थरबाजी यहाँ पर शुरू हो गई और इस तरह के ईंट ऊपर से फेंके जा रहे थे, उसका आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं। यहाँ पर भी हैं कुछ सीमेंट के भी टुकड़े हैं, कुछ सीमेंट के भी टुकड़े हैं जो ऊपर से फेंके जा रहे थे। अब आरएएफ को भी वहाँ पर बुला लिया गया है, महिलाओं को बुलाया गया है क्योंकि मामला महिलाओं का है। महिलाएं यहाँ पर सबसे ज्यादा बवाल रच रही थी और आरएएफ को यहाँ पर बुलाकर सुरक्षा बल की तैनाती कर दी गई है। आरएएफ की तमाम महिलाएं आपको दिखेंगी, आरएएफ की देखिए महिलाएं अंदर घुसी हैं और अब उन घरों में जाकर उनको समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। तो नौबत ऐसी आ चुकी है और ये तो उस चौराहे से काफी दूर है, लगभग 100 मीटर दूर है जहां पर उस दिन हिंसा हुई थी। लेकिन जो साजिशकर्ता अलग अलग गलियों में जहांगीरपुरी में घुसे हुए हैं, उनको पकड़ने की फिराक में जब क्राइम ब्रांच अपनी जांच कर रही है और लोगों को आगे ले जा रही है, तब इस तरह की नौबत यहां पर पहुंची है। और उसके बाद आरएएफ की तमाम महिलाओं को हेडगियर के साथ यहां पर बुलाया गया और वो फिर अंदर गई हैं और वो वहां पर लोगों को समझाने की कोशिश कर रही हैं। जो वरिष्ठ अधिकारी हैं वो भी आ गए हैं और वो ये जानने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि कैसे उन्हें समझाया जाए। दरअसल जांच में अगर किसी एक व्यक्ति को भी हिरासत में लिया जाता है या गिरफ्तार किया जाता है, उसके बाद लोग तनाव में आते हैं और तमाम जो वरिष्ठ अधिकारी हैं वो अब लोगों को यहाँ से हटा रहे हैं। कुल मिलाकर थोड़ी देर का इंतजार और है और उसके बाद आप देखेंगे ये जो पूरा इलाका है, एक बार जल्दी से अगर आपने वहां से भी तस्वीरें नजर आएंगी। अब तो यहाँ पर मीडिया का भारी हुजूम हो गया, उस वक्त जब हम आए थे तो नहीं था। ये देखिए ये घर है, यहीं पर ये ऐसे घर हैं और यहीं से पत्थरबाजी की शुरुआत हुई थी। मेन चौराहा दिखाइए, मेन चौराहा जहां पर उस दिन हिंसा हुई है वो लगभग 100 मीटर की दूरी पर यहाँ से है। लेकिन यहाँ पर जब एक महिला से पूछताछ की जा रही थी, उस महिला से पूछताछ करने के लिए जब उसे यहाँ से ले जाया गया, उसके बाद महिलाओं का पूरा हुजूम बाहर सड़क तक निकलता है, पुलिस वालों पर हमला बोलता है। जब वो नहीं सुनते हैं उसके बाद ऊपर छतों से पत्थरबाजी होती है और उसकी लाइव तस्वीरें आपने देखी। रिजर्व्ड आर्म फोर्सेस की तमाम ऐसी जो सुरक्षा कर्मी हैं उन्होंने हेडगियर लगाया है और अब वो इस कॉलोनी में अंदर गई हैं लोगों को समझाने के लिए और किसी तरह से शांत करने के लिए। जो आरएएफ की महिलाएं थी, दिखाइए जरा ऊपर से कैमरा दिखाइए, वो आरएएफ की महिलाएं जो थी वो बाहर निकल रही हैं, ये दिखाइए ऊपर से उस गेट के पास से जो आरएएफ की महिलाएं थी वो लोगों से बातचीत करने के बाद अब बाहर निकल रही हैं। उन महिलाओं को समझाने की जिम्मेदारी उन्हें ही दी गई थी और अब ये लोग वहां से निकल रही हैं। आरएएफ की एक पूरी ह्यूमन चेन बना दी गई है, ये दिखाइए ये महिलाएं निकल गई हैं और ये आरएएफ की एक पूरी टीम है जिसने यहाँ पर ह्यूमन चेन बना लिया है। ये दिखाइए ये ह्यूमन चेन है ये ह्यूमन चेन इन्होंने यहाँ पर बना लिया है ताकि इस पूरे इलाके को कॉर्डन ऑफ कर दिया जाए और मामले को ठंडे पड़ने दिया जाए, ताकि कुछ देर तक यहाँ पर शांति बनी रहे। तो जितनी आरएएफ की महिलाएं थी जो अंदर गई थी समझाने के लिए, और आरएएफ के ये पूरे ह्यूमन चेन यहाँ पर बनाया गया है जो फिलहाल शांति के लिए यहाँ पर एक चेन बना रहे हैं ताकि पूरे इलाके में शांति की बहाली फिर से कर दी जाए।
All right, here the Delhi police continues its investigation as they're trying to probe into who exactly is responsible for the stone pelting in several of those locality houses. Stone pelting was reported while the procession was coming, in fact, passing through that area. And while the police reached there to investigate the matter, here you had women who were upset, alleging that the police is targeting one community, and they said they will not allow the police to enter their areas and detain their sons or husbands, and therefore they try to resist by pelting stones. Many of those women too have now been detained. In fact, the Delhi police now investigating this matter thoroughly as this case. Let's slip into a short break with news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.